Welcome to our session today. I'm going to share something truly exciting with you. It is all about how we can explore the world. Let's begin.
Imagine finding this ancient 2,500-year-old logbook.
Okay.
And you're reading it, and it perfectly describes the blinding glare of a localized plasma thruster, or like the instantaneous transmission of a quantum communication network.
Right, which sounds totally out of place.
Exactly. And it even outlines these highly rigid protocols for an astrobiological planetary survey. So the question for you listening is, would you just automatically dismiss that text as religious mythology? Or would you, stop and realize you might actually be reading a meticulously documented first contact log?
Right. And doing that, well, it requires completely suspending what historians call chronological snobbery.
Oh, chronological snobbery. I love that term.
Yeah, it's that arrogant assumption we all kind of make, right? Where we just believe that because someone lived 2,000 years ago, everything they saw in the sky was just a comet they didn't understand.
Or some kind of mass hallucination they just decided to worship.
Exactly. But if we strip away that cultural veneer, what is left in a lot of these ancient texts is a diagnostic record. A record of events that are honestly, shockingly technological.
And that is exactly the paradigm-shifting mission for our deep dive today. We are taking one of the world's most profound spiritual traditions,
Buddhist cosmology.
Yeah, Buddhist cosmology, and we're examining it strictly through the lens of modern astrophysics and astrobiology.
Which is quite the leap.
It is, and our guide for this is a really highly provocative piece of philosophical analysis by Warathunga W. Nemel. And the title of the text alone, it really just sets the mechanical stakes of this whole argument.
It really does.
It's called Shall We Journey to an Extraterrestrial Realm Aboard a Quantum Particle?
Yeah, I mean, the author's core thesis is just relentless throughout the whole thing.
Definitely.
He basically takes these highly revered, really foundational events in ancient Buddhist cosmology and argues they're explicitly describing what modern science classifies as extraterrestrial phenomena. And he uses this recurring Sinhala refrain throughout the text, which translates roughly to, that is exactly what we call extraterrestrial. He just keeps hammering it home.
He really does. But I want to pause on that title for a second, though, because we need to unpack the whole quantum particle aspect before we go any further.
Yeah.
Because the author isn't just saying, oh, hey, they saw a spaceship. He is actively bringing quantum physics into the equation. Why is he doing that? I mean, are these ancient texts actually describing something akin to quantum mechanics?
Well, they're describing the effects of it. Yeah.
The effects, okay.
Right. When you look at how beings in these ancient texts actually move between realms, it's rarely a slow linear journey.
Oh,
Entities just, appear and vanish.
All right, like instant travel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They bridge incomprehensible distances instantaneously.
All right.
And in classical physics, well, that just looks like magic.
Just pure magic.
But in quantum mechanics, we have real concepts of this. We have non-locality, quantum entanglement, and tunneling.
Tunneling, right.
Yeah, where a particle can just pass through a barrier without actually crossing the physical space in between. So the author uses this quantum particle idea in the title to argue that the ancients were actually documenting advanced beings utilizing quantum level technology.
Interstellar travel.
Exactly. Interdimensional or interstellar travel.
I mean, think about how you would try to describe, say, a modern helicopter to a medieval farmer.
Oh man. Yeah, good luck.
Right. You don't have the word rotor or combustion engine. You'd probably just end up calling it a screaming metal bird.
A very loud bird, yeah.
And that's kind of the linguistic trap the author says we've fallen into here. We read magical disappearance when the original observer was just desperately trying to describe, non-local quantum transit.
It is essentially an etymological challenge because ancient languages, they relied so heavily on physical earthly analogs to describe abstract or, completely alien concepts.
That makes total sense.
And honestly, even today, modern astrophysics does the exact same thing.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, think about it. We call the internet a web. We call space a fabric.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the fabric of space-time.
Right. Because the human brain just needs a tactile anchor to understand these massive ideas.
Okay, so if we accept that premise, then we really need to look at the map. If these beings are using quantum mechanics to get here, where exactly are here and there?
The cosmic geography.
Exactly. Let's look at the cosmic geography, because the source text points heavily to two specific origin locations, right? The Hasara Brahma Loka and the Tusita Heaven.
Yeah. So traditionally, the Apasara Brahmaloka is known as this realm of radiant beings.
Radiant beings, okay.
And the Orthodox interpretation just views this as a metaphysical plane of existence, something you achieve through deep meditative consciousness.
Just a spiritual place.
Right. But the author systematically strips away that ethereal spiritual connotation.
He makes it a physical place.
Exactly. He reframes the Apasara Brahmaloka as a literal physical origin point, like a highly advanced planetary system or an extraterrestrial dimension. And the text notes that beings from this realm, they make calculated collective declarations. They monitor conditions and explicitly state when it is time to be born into the human world.
Okay, wait. That brings up the whole Tusita Heaven thing.
Right.
Because the ancient texts say that from the Tusita Heaven, the 5 great observations were made before a descent down to Earth.
Yes, the 5 observations.
And just for you listening, those 5 observations are checking the right time, the right continent, the right country, the right family, and the right mother.
Which is incredibly specific.
Very specific. Now, the author argues this is an advanced alien planetary survey, but, I mean, if this is just an observational post-checking atmospheric conditions or societal stability, why do they care about the right family and the right mother?
Right, that is the catch.
That doesn't sound like a simple flyby at all. That sounds like, I don't know, directed panspermia or targeted genetic manipulation.
Well, and that is the exact implication of reading it mechanically, because if you take the magic out of it, an intelligence looking for the right mother and right family, that strongly suggests a biological integration program.
A biological integration program, wow.
Yeah, because an advanced intelligence wouldn't just drop a representative onto a planet randomly.
Definitely not. They'd want them to survive.
Except they would require a host lineage that offers specific societal positioning, maybe certain genetic predispositions, and, the right geopolitical environment to ensure their download of information or their emissary actually survives and is listened to.
That is wild. It completely transforms a mystical prophecy into a rigorous astrobiological checklist.
It really does.
So, okay, we have an extraterrestrial intelligence sitting in an orbital or interdimensional observation deck, Tusita, just running a sociological and genetic audit of Earth. Like, is the target planet ready? Yes. Is the biological host optimal? Yes. Initiate descent.
Exactly. And when you look at these realms as distinct populated locations that actually house observant life, the physical encounters on Earth take on a profoundly different reality.
Well, yeah, because if they are initiating a descent, we have to look at the physics of the arrival itself, because the source text gives us these incredibly specific sensory details about these close encounters, and they do not sound subtle.
No, they're intensely physical.
Yeah.
So the text describes deities arriving at the Jetavana monastery, historically known as Dewaram Vihara, right at midnight.
At midnight, okay.
And the specific detail recorded is that they illuminate the entire area with blinding light to ask about auspicious facts or Mangal Karana.
Okay, let's apply our sci-fi framework to that midnight illumination for a second. If you look at classical art, this is always depicted as like a soft, glowing halo around a divine figure.
A very peaceful glow.
Right. But if you are a human living in a world lit exclusively by oil lamps and wood fires, and an extraterrestrial craft, or an entity using high-intensity illumination, drops into your monastery at midnight, you are going to be absolutely terrified. You'd be blinded. Exactly. You're going to describe a blinding, unnatural radiance.
Because you don't have the vocabulary for a xenon arc lamp or a plasma thruster or some kind of electromagnetic energy field.
No, you just know it's bright.
Right, you only know that the darkness was completely obliterated. So you describe a divine being making the environment inexplicably bright. The author really argues that this is a physical, technological light source being recorded with the highest tier vocabulary available to that observer at the time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it's not just the visual spectrum, though, right? Because the text is highly specific about the auditory phenomena, too.
Oh, the sound, yes.
Yeah, it mentions the cosmic resonance on the day of enlightenment. The text says the Sadhu sounds made by the deities echoed all the way up to the Brahma worlds.
Right.
But wait, how does sound travel across the cosmos? Sound needs a medium. It literally can't travel through the vacuum of space.
It absolutely cannot.
So if we aren't talking about acoustic sound waves, what is this ancient text actually describing?
Well, if these entities are operating across multiple planets or dimensions, all the way from Earth to the distant Brahma worlds, they require a communication infrastructure that scales those vast distances instantly.
Okay.
So if the text says an event on Earth was simultaneously heard or registered in the Brahma worlds, it's really describing a localized event transmitting across an interstellar broadcast network.
Wait, are we talking about faster than light signaling here?
The author's framework certainly points to that, yeah. We go right back to that quantum particle concept we talked about earlier.
Oh, quantum entanglement.
Exactly. Quantum entanglement allows two particles to affect each other instantly, regardless of the immense distance separating them.
So the ancient mind perceives this simultaneous cosmos-wide acknowledgement of an event, and they interpret it as an impossibly loud, echoing chant.
Because that's all they know.
But functionally, it's an instantaneous data transmission across a galactic network. That is amazing.
It really changes how you read it.
And this is where the physical reality of the author's argument becomes kind of unavoidable, I think. We have high-intensity light and quantum data transmission, but the text doesn't stop at just energy and sound.
No, it goes further.
It explicitly documents physical artifacts. It references the shaving of hair to take a hair relic and build the luminous stupa.
Which is the preservation of actual biological material.
Exactly. If you leave a biological artifact behind, you aren't just a hologram.
Right, you aren't just a meditative vision.
No, you have mass. And the building of the luminous stupa to house this relic, that grounds the entire myth in hard, physical, biological evidence. There was an actual exchange of organic matter between these visitors and humanity.
And the author uses these specific details to insist that these encounters were purely material. The source text also highlights the specific existences of figures like Saka, the king of gods, and Matali, his charioteer.
Right, they have names and roles.
Yeah, and it describes them occupying physical space,
Yeah.
operating distinct vehicles, and interacting materially with the human environment.
Okay, so if they are moving physical mass like themselves, their vehicles, and these biological relics from a deep space observation post down to an ancient Earth monastery, we really have to address the travel mechanism.
The how.
Exactly, the how. How exactly is a biological entity making that transit? Because the texts go into deep detail about travel, and not just them coming down, but humans going up.
Oh, absolutely. The mechanics of interdimensional travel in these texts are incredibly striking. The most famous example is the descent from the heavenly world on a golden ladder.
The golden ladder. Okay, so you picture literal gold rungs,
That's
right?
what most people picture, yeah.
Like heavy metallic scaffolding just dropping out of the clouds. But if we go back to that linguistic trap, the etymological challenge you mentioned, could the ladder just be the ancient mind trying to describe an extraterrestrial boarding mechanism?
Well, think about the core function. A human from 2,000 years ago witnesses, say, a localized anti-gravity field lifting someone up, or maybe a luminous energy beam descending from a craft.
Okay.
They do not have the conceptual framework for a tractor beam or a hydraulic ramp.
They don't have those words.
Right. The only technology they possess that functionally bridges the ground to an elevated position is a ladder.
So they just call it a ladder.
Exactly.
And they call it golden because it was likely emitting a luminous energy, or maybe it was made of some advanced glowing metamaterial.
Precisely. The author is urging us to look past the literal noun and examine the mechanical function. The golden ladder is just a technological bridge between Earth and an extraterrestrial vessel or realm.
And it wasn't just short trips to orbit either. The source text outlines extensive cosmic exploration. It explicitly mentions Mahamugulana Thero wandering through the infinite universe.
Yeah.
It talks about journeying to the heavenly realm with Prince Nanda and Sulaguru Maha Upasaka traveling to two completely different worlds.
And the crucial takeaway here is that the author absolutely refuses to let these be categorized as internal meditative trips.
They aren't just dreams.
No, the text treats them as actual physical or conscious transits across interstellar space.
Yeah.
The ancient writers were grappling with the reality of a populated infinite cosmos.
Wow.
When it describes Mahamugulana Thero wandering the universe, it highlights an awareness of a physical reality that extends infinitely outward, which directly contradicts those primitive flat Earth models we assume all ancient societies held.
It's essentially describing early astronauts navigating the physical cosmos.
Basically, yeah.
And it wasn't just like cosmic sightseeing. The text notes that the Buddha journeyed to preach the Abhidhamma to the mother deity in her realms. So you have this exchange of highly complex philosophical and perhaps mathematical data happening across planetary boundaries.
And we also see the reverse flow too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the text mentions heavenly sons descending to meet Venerable Sariputta. So there is a constant dynamic transit of entities and information between Earth and these extraterrestrial environments.
Oh, real back and forth.
Right. The author uses this bidirectional traffic to build a case that the ancients were actively participating in an interstellar community.
Okay, if they were actively participating in an interstellar community, they would have had to understand the scale of what they were dealing with.
They would.
Which leads us to, honestly, the most mind-bending scientific parallels in the entire source text. Because this isn't just about glowing ladders and ships anymore, it culminates in some hardcore astrophysics.
Oh, absolutely. We have to look at the concept of the Loka Vishaya.
The Loka Vishaya. Right, so the text points out that the Buddha declared the Loka Vishaya, which roughly translates to the range or subject of the world and universe as Achintaya.
Achintaya. Inconceivable.
Entirely beyond human thought. Now, is that just a religious cop-out? Like, God's ways are mysterious, don't ask too many questions?
Well, in the author's extraterrestrial framework, it is the exact opposite of a cop-out.
Okay.
It's actually a scientifically accurate statement about the limits of human cognition when faced with the infinite scale of the cosmos. The author is pointing out that ancient Buddhist philosophy already contained an understanding of a universe so vast, so filled with varying dimensions and physical laws, that it literally breaks the human brain's capacity to process it. The Loka Vishaya, being a Achintaya, is basically a warning about our cognitive limits.
It's incredibly humbling when you put it like that. It's essentially saying that we are a species trying to comprehend dark matter, infinite universes, and nonlinear time, all with a biological brain that evolved primarily to figure out how to find fruit and avoid predators.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The text suggests that the ancients recognized our hardwired cognitive limits thousands of years before modern scientists started bumping up against them in quantum mechanics.
That's wild.
But the most fascinating part is that even knowing the universe was inconceivable, they didn't stop searching it.
No, they kept looking. Because the text mentions that after his enlightenment, the Buddha looked out into the cosmos specifically to see if there were other Buddhas in existence.
Right, and that is the functional equivalent of our modern search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
SETI.
Exactly, SETI.
It's the ultimate ancient SETI program. I mean, he achieves supreme enlightenment, reaches the absolute pinnacle of human cognitive and spiritual evolution, and his very first instinct is to scan the universe and ask, is there anyone else out there operating on this frequency?
It's a profound thought.
It really proves that the desire for connection with pure intelligence is a fundamental universal drive embedded right there in ancient scripture.
And the source text takes this astronomical alignment even further than that. It makes a very specific, explicit claim that facts about black holes are structurally revealed within the Dhamma.
Okay, wait, you have to explain the mechanics of that. It's one thing to say they saw a bright light and thought it was a spaceship. It is entirely another thing to say ancient agrarian societies understood the astrophysics of a black hole.
It sounds impossible, I know.
How exactly does an ancient text describe a region of space-time where gravity is so strong that not even light can escape?
Well, the author points to specific cosmological maps within the Dhamma, which describe phenomena that map flawlessly to modern astrophysics.
Okay.
For instance, Buddhist cosmology describes the Lokantarika. These are the vast, abysmal regions situated between different world systems or galaxy clusters.
Like the voids between galaxies.
Yes, and the text described these regions as areas of absolute impenetrable darkness, where no light, not even the light of a sun or a moon, can ever reach.
Oh, wow.
Furthermore, they are characterized by immense destructive forces and crushing conditions.
So they aren't just casually saying, oh, it's dark out there. They're describing specific, localized pockets of extreme gravitational destruction nestled between galaxies.
Correct. When the Dhamma speaks of these unlit, crushing voids, where physical matter is annihilated, the author argues they are mechanically describing black holes and the immense gravitational wells between star systems.
That's just staggering.
They obviously didn't have the mathematics of general relativity to calculate an event horizon, but they accurately recorded the physical reality of the phenomena.
It perfectly bridges the gap.
It really does. We are no longer just interpreting ancient myths as misunderstood technology. We are finding complex, theoretical astrophysics embedded deep within ancient spiritual philosophy.
It's like unearthing a stone tablet and finding a workable quantum physics equation carved right into it. It forces you to completely reassess who wrote the tablet and what baseline of reality they were actually operating from.
And that is the ultimate triumph of Wirthanka W. Niemel's analysis. By continuously repeating the refrain, That is exactly what we call extraterrestrial. The author demands that we stop treating these ancient records as mere allegories.
We have to take them seriously as logs.
Exactly. They are technical accounts of a universe teeming with intelligent life, connected by quantum networks and governed by physics that humanity is only just beginning to rediscover today.
It really is a complete paradigm shift. I mean, we started this deep dive talking about finding a dusty, primitive diary.
Right.
But over the course of exploring this text, we've realized that the authors of those ancient records weren't primitive at all. They were just tasked with the impossible job of describing the Akinteya, the inconceivable cosmos, using the limited vocabulary of their time.
They observed orbital observation decks and called them Tusita Heaven.
Yeah.
They observed quantum boarding ramps and called them golden ladders. They recognized that midnight visitations of blinding light weren't magic, but applied technology.
And they mapped out regions of total light-crushing darkness that our supercomputers are only now just able to image.
Exactly. It makes you realize that ancient humanity wasn't just sitting around inventing fairy tales to explain why it was raining.
Right. They might have been frantically trying to document their contact with an incredibly complex, populated, and technologically advanced universe.
It's a remarkable lens through which to read history. Once you see the mechanics behind the myth, it really changes the way you look at every ancient text and every piece of scripture.
Which brings me to this final thought for you to chew on as we wrap up. We've spent this entire time looking backwards, right? We've analyzed how ancient humans used terms like golden ladders and radiant divas to describe extraterrestrial technology because they simply lacked the scientific vocabulary of the future.
They did what they could.
Right. So here's the question you have to ask yourself today. If they were doing that back then, well, what profound reality-bending phenomena are we currently witnessing in our modern world that we're completely mislabeling simply because we don't have the vocabulary of the future yet? I mean, what is our modern golden ladder?
We assume our current scientific vocabulary is the definitive endpoint of understanding. The history and this text suggests it almost certainly isn't.
Something to really think about the next time you look up at the night sky. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the inconceivably vast universe. Keep questioning the world around you, keep pushing the boundaries of your own vocabulary, and we'll see you next time.